Look at this tactical setup. It might appear to be a defensive 4-4-2 formation with one central midfielder. However, if you take a closer look, you'll find that this midfielder is actually one of the 3 central defenders, while the fullbacks are playing as advanced wingbacks. And if you're looking for actual central midfielders, you'll have to look further forward as they position themselves close to the striker. These are the strange tactics of Fabian Hürzeler at St. Pauli. He's a coach who hardly uses any central midfielders and instead uses formations like 3-0-7 or 5-0-5, formations where it's hard to pinpoint the positions of players accurately, and you see more false roles than real ones. So what exactly are these unique tactics of Fabian Hürzeler, and why do we not see central midfielders in his system? Let's discuss this in the video. Regarding the absence of central midfielders in his system, hello legends, and welcome to the Mr. Rovo channel. Discipline. The further you move to the left, the more structured and tactically disciplined the system becomes, as in Guardiola, Zerbi, and Arteta's style, where players maintain the overall shape despite positional rotations. The further you move to the right, the less clear the formations become, and players are given more freedom to move without being restricted by positional structure. Hürzeler exploits the central spaces to connect the lines. When building play, a central defender drops deep to receive the ball and then quickly passes it, drawing pressure from the opposition and creating space for the fullbacks to move inside and receive passes. When the ball is with the fullback, a midfielder drops to receive it and passes it forward, drawing the opposition's players and freeing up the 5-man attack. However, against low defensive blocks, he switches to plan B, where one of the central midfielders drops to become a false midfielder, while the other moves forward with the striker, playing as a number 10, adding layers to the midfield. This forces the opponent's defense to stretch vertically, creating spaces either behind the defense or in the central areas to exploit. When St. Pauli enters the attacking half, the formation shifts to 3-0-7 or 3-1-6, with the midfielders staying forward as false number 10s, leaving a gap between defense and attack. To resolve this, the central defender pushes forward to play as a false midfielder, allowing the team to create a numerical advantage in each area. But if the front line is distributed horizontally, the opponent will protect the central areas, reducing the effectiveness of the formation and forcing the team into long balls or crosses. To counter this, Hürzeler gives the false tense freedom to move and support any area that needs reinforcement, such as creating numerical superiority on the wings to counter the opponent's pressure. If the opponent attempts to cover the numerical advantage, it opens up spaces in the central areas or the opposite wing, allowing the attack to exploit them. Here, the false tense turn into playmakers or attackers, either by pulling defenders or slipping into open spaces to score. This approach was clearly demonstrated with Marcel Hartel, who hadn't scored more than 5 goals in a season before, but exploded under Hürzeler, scoring 21 goals and providing 16 assists, highlighting the effectiveness of the false tense in developing St. Pauli's attack. However, playing with only 3 defenders makes the team more vulnerable to counterattacks. Despite playing with only 3 defenders, St. Pauli was the team that conceded the fewest goals last season, thanks to smart counter-pressing tactics. As soon as possession is lost, the 7 attackers turn into defenders, with the losing winger and the nearest player pressuring the ball carrier, while the player behind them closes off passing options, and the others are ready to intercept long passes. Pressing. Through layers of pressing and numerical superiority up front, Hürzeler adds extra protection to his defense. And if they don't regain possession immediately, the team quickly falls back into a cohesive defensive shape characterized by the tight pentagon, made up of the front trio and the midfielders. This shape blocks central options, and when the ball is passed to a midfielder, the pentagon presses him from all sides, forcing him to pass backwards. Thus, St. Pauli pushes the opponent toward the wings, where the midfielders quickly move to cover passes, while the fullbacks press the ball carrier aggressively. If the opponent tries to retreat, the team switches to intense man marking to force them further back, guiding his defenders. Another important defensive aspect of Hürzeler's style is the positioning of his defenders, who are directed to place their bodies sideways rather than horizontally. He believes this allows them to move quickly when facing direct passes, instead of needing to turn first, which gives attackers an advantage. But despite St. Pauli's defensive solidity, the team faced issues on the flanks. When the midfielders push forward together, the 3-man defense morphs into a narrow shape, 2+1. If the counter press fails, the opponent can easily exploit the spaces on the wings. Flank vulnerabilities. To address the vulnerability on the flanks, Hürzeler instructed the advanced fullbacks to drop back as midfielders or position themselves as central defenders on the wings, which strengthened the defensive depth and provided tactical flexibility. However, despite this tactic's success with St. Pauli, strong teams easily exploited this gap. As a result, Hürzeler relied on the traditional 4-2-3-1 formation with Brighton, which provided better defensive balance against top teams like Manchester City and Liverpool. In this system, the central defender plays a flexible role, advancing as a false defensive midfielder during possession and then dropping back to support the defense when possession is lost. On the flanks, the fullbacks perform hybrid roles, advancing into central areas when building up play, then returning to the wings to create offensive density in the final third. In midfield, the two central players move freely to perform dynamic relationships, enhancing numerical superiority around the ball or providing attacking options in open spaces. As for the wings, they stay fixed on the flanks, allowing Fabian to position 5 players inside the penalty area while keeping 2 on the wings. These movements create a dilemma for the opponent regarding which side to focus on, causing their defense to unravel and leaving some players unmarked. This gives the wingers 2 options, either to pass the ball to the advanced player in the central space or stay wide to send a cross where the 5 attackers can break the defensive line. Tactically, Fabian relies on a strong presence in the front lines to maintain control of the match, minimizing the risk of counterattacks. Like Zerbi's style, Fabian aims to dismantle the opponent's structure quickly through triangular passes, which require a fast tempo to be effective. Defensively, he relies on a high defensive line, where players in the front line become the first line of defense after the ball is lost. When in defensive positions, he insists on keeping the defensive line compact, facilitating movement and coordination between them, while trapping opponents in offside positions. Penetrating the area. In the final third, Hürzeler's team prefers to penetrate the penalty area through through balls rather than crosses, relying on deep passes and triangular passing patterns to progress the ball from the back. Although he is not yet 31 years old, Hürzeler has introduced an innovative tactical approach that is expected to be adopted by coaches in the future. In today's game, players are not expected to perform just one role, but rather multiple roles simultaneously. With his new beginning at Brighton, Hürzeler has started to impress English fans, and it will be exciting to follow the team's development in the future. As for Liverpool, after years under Jurgen Klopp's leadership, a new coach has come in to continue applying high-intensity pressing while maintaining the team's balance. This coach prefers to play through the center and dislikes crosses. It will be interesting to see the tactics of Arne Slot and why he chose Liverpool after Klopp.